This video is on molar mass, and hopefully a lot of this video will be review for you. You had homework last night using this chart, and it's a little small for the screen, but you had it as homework. So you saw problems involving that explosion we did in class with the nitrogen triiodide, and I gave you all the equivalencies. And so a lot of this unit will be doing problems just like this. So if you did well on this page, you've got most of this unit down already, except for the fact I'm not going to give you these equivalencies anymore. You need to be able to find them and be able to use them. So how do we do that? Well, if you look at the equivalencies on the left, and if it's too hard to read, it says 1 mole of nitrogen triiodide equals 394.719 grams of nitrogen triiodide. So that's the first one on the top. All of these can be found where? Yes, you remember, all of these can be found on the periodic table. When we used the periodic table before, we were just looking at individual elements to figure out the molar mass of an element like carbon or nitrogen or silicon or aluminum. But now we are going to talk about compounds. And so nitrogen triiodide, the molar mass that was calculated here, is the sum of 1 nitrogen and 3 iodines. And that's where we get this number 394.719. So we're going to practice one together, and I think you'll catch on very quickly. So we're going to do one a little bit more difficult than nitrogen triiodide. So let's do the molar mass of calcium nitrate. So it's simply the sum of all the elements here. So it's the sum of 1 calcium, and there are 2 nitrogens and 6 oxygens. So if we look each of those up on the periodic table and multiply them by the correct number, we'll get the molar mass of the compound calcium nitrate. So I've looked up the molar masses on the periodic table. Here's calcium, here's nitrogen and oxygen, but we'll have to multiply some of these. There was only 1 calcium in calcium nitrate, but if you remember, there's 2 nitrogens, so we need to multiply this by 2. And there are 3 times 2 or 6 oxygen, so we're going to need to multiply this by 6. So if we do that, we find that this is simply still 40.078. 14.0067 times 2. You'd need your calculator. I've already done that on my calculator, and I get 28.0134. And oxygen, which is 15.99940, 3 nines and a 4 times 6 is 95.9964. And these all have units. These are how many grams that are equal to 1 mole. So 1 calcium, let's move that over so you can see it. 1 calcium, 2 nitrogens, and 6 oxygens. So we look them up on the periodic table. 1 calcium, 2 nitrogens, and 6 oxygens. We did the math here, and now we need to add them all up together, and we get a value of 164.0878. And that's how many grams equals 1 mole. Right? So you can use these numbers to solve problems, and we did problems like this at the beginning of the year, except we used single elements. So now we're just changing it to using compounds. So let's try our knowledge of molar mass now to solve a problem involving calcium nitrate. So let's solve this problem. And you've done similar questions like this before. You might have answered in the past how many moles of calcium are in 17.8 grams of calcium, but now we're just going to change it to compounds. How many moles of calcium nitrate are in 17.8 grams of calcium nitrate? So if you forget how to do unit analysis, please spend the time and watch the videos again on unit analysis and the 3 types of common errors you have when solving unit analysis, so you're back up to speed with these types of problems. So if you recall from the past, the first thing we do is figure out where we're going. What's the answer going to be in? So it's going to be in moles. So I'm looking for moles. So I'm going to put this here. And in this unit, we really need to remember to write down what we have. Moles of what? Grams of what? Because sometimes they're going to change right in a problem. So we should get in the habit of doing that from the start. So these are moles of calcium nitrate. So that's where I'm going. Now I read the problem. What am I given? This is the part that I'm given. So I'm going to start with that. So I have 17.8 grams of calcium nitrate. And usually we put that over the number 1 just to remind us that it's on the top of the fraction. And now we need to get rid of grams and we need to get to moles. And so we need to use the periodic table. And we just did that. We found out that 1 mole of calcium nitrate was equal to 164.0878 grams of calcium nitrate. So now I have to decide what goes on the top and what goes on the bottom of this fraction. So if I want to cancel grams, it's going to have to be on the bottom. So we have the 164.0878 grams of calcium nitrate equals 1 mole of calcium nitrate. So now if I look at this, the grams of calcium nitrate cancel, and I have moles of calcium nitrate, and that's what I want in my answer, moles of calcium nitrate. So I've set it up properly so that the unwanted units cancel, and I end up with the units I want. So now I just need to take out my calculator and go 17.8 divided by 164.0878, and I get this as a number. I get 0.1084785. That's a pretty long number. In fact, I even get more digits than that. So we still have to remember sig figs. So I have 3 significant figures here. I have lots more than 3 here. So I can have 3 in my answer. So I can go to 0.108. And since this is less than halfway, it's 4785, I can just drop that off. If it was more than 5 here, I would have to round up. So I have 0.108 moles of calcium nitrate. So there we have our problem. Just like we had before, how many moles of calcium nitrate in 17.8 grams of calcium nitrate gives me 0.108 moles of calcium nitrate. I use the same techniques as I did previous in the year, crossing out units and getting the units I want. And also, the only really new thing is finding how many grams in 1 mole of a compound, which I think you'll find pretty easy to do. So give the target problems a try, and if you need help, see me in class.